Hello everybody, welcome to Blue Marble Science. You know, airplanes aren't projectiles, but flat earthers don't seem to get it. Warning, severe facial and monitor damage alert is in effect. Get out those oven mitts, push the monitors back out of punching range, and let's light this dumpster fire and have some fun. Do airplanes behave like projectiles? Well, let's see. Here's an exchange between myself and Chris Berry the other day. And let's just listen to how badly he misunderstands Coriolis reference frames and the operation of aircraft.
Bob left. Yeah, good on you,
No,
Bob.
he doesn't like discussing Coriolis and airplanes because he says he's a pilot, but he doesn't understand these concepts.
Are you suggesting that
Can't get
he's
him
not
right.
a pilot?
Yeah, really.
No, what I'm saying is he treats.
Well, it sounded like you're alleging that he's not a pilot because you said.
All right.
He says
Well, it
he's a
sounds like you
pilot.
interrupted me.
Okay,
Yeah.
earlier, before Bob
I've-
kind of gave up earlier, but then he was persuaded to come back to this question. But Blue is willing to have the questions to him and maybe address you. I think so. Blue, you want to talk to Chris for a few minutes?
Yeah, I will.
I've already talked to Blue about this. He got the question wrong. So he doesn't
No, I
understand
don't.
it either.
I didn't get it wrong, Chris.
I don't remember Blue having
Yeah.
questions answered around. Yeah, that's right.
And I will be more than happy to talk to Chris, but I want everybody else to stay on mute, please.
Yep.
You got it,
Otherwise-
Blue.
Okay, I'll do it one more time with Blue. Let me present.
Well, let me ask you a question first,
Oh,
if you don't
God.
mind.
I
Would
kind
you
of do.
mind?
'Cause this
Would
is
you
from-
mind? Would you mind defining for me what a frame of reference is, Chris?
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't. You know what? In this
Well, then we're not going
aspect,
to go any further.
we don't have to worry
Unless
about
you
frame
can-
of reference.
Yes, you do. If you don't answer that question, we can't go any further, Chris. What is a frame of reference? Okay, I guess we're done.
Oh, okay, so you're going to run away too, right? Is that what you're saying?
I
What is
said,
running
I'm
away? He asked you a
not
question.
All right,
running
he's
away.
running
I
away.
asked you a question.
All
No,
right,
I'm not
I'll
running
stop
away.
sharing. Yeah, definitely.
I'm not running away, Chris. I asked you a question. Can you define what a frame of reference is?
Yeah, hold on.
So while Chris scrambles desperately to look up the meaning of frames of reference in Wikipedia, I'll just put it on the screen for you. And the reason I'm asking him this question is he simply can't understand Coriolis if he doesn't understand what a reference frame is. Here's what it says. In physics, a frame of reference consists of an abstract coordinate system and a set of physical reference points that uniquely fix the coordinate system and standardize measurements within that frame. Let's see how complicated that is. That's a reference frame. It is simply a coordinate system. For a Cartesian system, we only need 4 points in space. We need an origin, and we need 3 points to define the x, y, and z axes. Now, Chris, why is this so hard for you? Why do you need to look this up? A frame of reference is simply a coordinate system. That's what you just read. Do you agree with that or not?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
And in that frame of reference, in that coordinate system, you could describe the position of anything, anywhere in the universe. Is that not true?
I'm not really listening. I'm trying to do my drawing here.
So you are not listening. You just plot close-minded, focus on your questions only.
No,
Yes?
I said
All right,
I
well,
wanted a one-on-one with Bob. Bob ran away. Blue said he would take on my question, and now I'm getting the
Okay.
questions.
Okay. Well, give me your
So
question.
let me know
then,
when
Chris.
I can get to the
Okay.
crux
Look,
of my
I don't want
question.
you to cry. I don't want you to cry and get upset. So you give me your question. Let's see what we can
Well,
do
I just
with it.
I don't need Dr. Bob's tactics when Dr. Bob isn't here. Thank you. All right, I'm going to give you two scenarios. The first scenario is what I'm drawing, and I'll explain the scenario as I draw it, so that way we're all on the same page. I have a person at X and a person at point Y in each circle. They're on a pivot point, which is this square, and they're going around in a circle, basically like on a platform. Okay, and it's going this way counterclockwise in a circle.
So now Chris wants to play a game and essentially try to describe what you see in this video, which is a nice demonstration of the Coriolis effect. I don't know why he didn't just show this video, but he was apparently testing my knowledge as to whether or not the ball would curve in the rotating frame of reference. Okay, at least that's a start. Apparently, he might have the idea that the ball is not going to travel straight in the rotating frame of reference. Here we see it from the fixed frame, the inertial frame. And from the inertial frame, the ball is actually traveling in a straight line. So the ball, when it's traveling in an inertial frame of reference, is moving in a straight line. But now we're in the rotating frame, the non-inertial frame of reference. Now what happens? Same ball traveling in a non-inertial reference frame is not traveling in a straight line. That's what you were trying to say, Chris. But pay attention to one simple fact. The ball doesn't leave either reference frame. Even though you see it curving there, it's still traveling straight in an inertial frame of reference. I'll say no.
Okay, you would be correct. Now, why won't the person at Y catch the ball? Because X threw it straight at him.
Because the frame of reference you're talking about is rotating, and a Coriolis force exists in that frame of reference.
Okay, so you're saying by the time that the ball got to, say, this point, Y would, say, be somewhere over here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
something like that. Well, that exactly like that. So let's say that is based on basic physics. Okay. Question number 2. If a person at X wants to throw the ball so that it lands in person Y's hands, where do they have to throw the ball?
You really need to know that. You can't figure that out for yourself.
I need you to answer it. I need you to answer it.
Well, obviously, Chris, you would throw it to the left of your position, of your Y
like
guy
that?
position. Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So far,
Yeah.
Big Blue is 2 for 2. When I had to press him a few times, but he's 2 for 2.
It's so cute when these guys try to act all smart and
scenario
stuff.
1 is done. Okay, let's go on to scenario 2.
While Chris is busy making his sketch, we'll just go over this very quickly. An inertial frame of reference is a frame where Newton's laws of motion hold true. That means if no external force is acting on a body, it will stay at rest or remain in uniform motion. A non-inertial frame of reference, however, is a frame that is accelerated with respect to the assumed inertial frame of reference, and Newton's laws do not hold true in those frames. In the case of a rotating non-inertial frame of reference, we have 3 forces that emerge. These are what we call pseudo forces or fictitious forces. They only occur when objects are in the rotating non-inertial frame of reference. The first force is the Euler force. It's a vector cross product of the rate of change of rotation and the position vector. Centrifugal force, on the other hand, is a cross product of the rotation vector with the cross product of that rotation vector and the position vector. But Coriolis force is a vector cross product of the rotation vector and the velocity vector of the object that is moving in the non-inertial frame of reference. When you do that math and do that cross product, the Coriolis force is 2 mv omega sine alpha. M is the mass of the object that's moving in the non-inertial reference frame. V is its velocity. Omega is the rotational speed of the Earth in this case, in radians per second, and alpha is the latitude. After Chris gets this completely wrong, we'll use this formula to show you what Coriolis actually does to an airplane.
No, that's 1,000. It's definitely wrong. 300.
No,
so I'm flying from 300 to 1,000 miles per hour. You're saying I do a straight line. Yet when in scenario 1, I asked you the question, you said you go to the left because Y is moving. Well, Y is moving here. Why don't I go to the left here?
Chris, you were talking about a ball, a projectile thrown in your first example. Now you're talking about an airplane. Are you aware of the fact that regardless, the relative position of y and x on the surface of the Earth doesn't change as the Earth rotates?
Say that again.
Okay. Anchorage, Alaska stays right where it is, even though the Earth is rotating. And so does San Diego, California. It stays exactly where it is. Even though the Earth is rotating.
While you're
And
on
if-
the ground, while you're on the ground, yes.
While you're in the air, it still stays.
No.
Those 2 points don't change.
But
Chris.
the ball, while the ball's in the air, it changes. I thought this is a one-on-one.
Chris.
Why are people jumping in?
No,
There's
Chris.
nobody jumping in.
Yeah, Lael jumped in.
No, I see him muted.
It's okay, somebody jumped in, but whatever.
Are you really going to tell me that the position of two cities on the planet change position just because I get in an airplane and start flying?
So you're saying that in the straight line, there's no Coriolis. Then that's your answer.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, that's what would have to be, because in example 1, which is basically the exact same example, there was Coriolis, which caused the ball not to hit Y because the Y would have been over here. So your answer was you have to go to throw to the left to get to Y.
I'm not going to fly the airplane to the left to hit X here, Chris. I'm simply going to stay over the course on the ground. That's all.
But the ground's moving underneath you, though. That's the problem.
It doesn't make that's not the point, Chris. I'm in an airplane. I'm in control of the airplane. I can stay over whatever course I draw on whatever course I'm trying to maintain between 2 points on the Earth. I just stay right over the top of that course.
But Y is moving at 1,000. You're only moving at 300. If you stay over your due south course, Y is going to move. Y is going to end up over here.
Y and
you're going to be over here.
Chris, the relationship between Y and X on the ground does not change. Those cities don't move around just because we're flying.
All right. Well, Blue, listen, I already said Blue didn't get the first question right the first time. He didn't get it right this time. If anyone on the panel or on the calls ever gets a physics question, the answer is, and a Coriolis question, the answer must be you have to divert your plane like this to catch up to Y, because it's moving faster than you.
Chris,
this is your interpretation.
Not how we do it.
This is the way you don't understand it, and you understand it this way. But I mean, you don't have to tell us who is right, who is wrong. People here can discern for themselves. You don't have to decide who is right or wrong, Chris. If you don't understand, that's a different point.
Oh, I understand, Jose. No, so scenario. I laid out scenario 1 obviously for a reason, because anybody can get that one right because it's basic physics. Scenario 2 is the exact same setup. You're just using planes instead of a ball and the Earth instead of a roundabout. Both are moving.
No, Chris, that's
both are in a new frame of reference, and the answer is the same.
Chris, no, I'm sorry. That's not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. Make it the same thing now. Put the ball up there at Y and throw it at X.
Okay.
Get rid of your green line. Get rid of your green line. Let's do the same thing, Chris.
I'll just do a new one. So you want me to throw it from Y to X?
No. I want you to leave that one. Which way you have the plane? You had the plane traveling which way? Were you going from X to Y or Y to X?
This.
Which way? Okay, you're going that way? Fine. Put the ball at X and launch it toward Y.
Okay.
And now it's exactly the same.
In this scenario? Whoops.
Now it's exactly the same thing.
In scenario 2? Scenario 1.
Well, the rotation is horizontal to us at this point.
No, are you want me to draw the line 1 or 2? Where do you want me to draw the line from X to Y? There's 2 X's and 2 Y's if you haven't figured that out.
I don't see 2 X's and 2 Y's. I see an X and a Y.
Okay, got there's an X here and a Y here.
No, I'm not there.
Here and a Y here.
No, I'm over here on the other diagram. Get rid of the green line.
There's 2 green lines
on the right-hand side, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
Scenario number 2.
Well, I won't get rid of it. I'll leave it. I'll do a new color for you. So you want me to go from X to Y?
With a ball.
Go ahead. There's the blue ball.
With a ball.
Yep.
Now what's happening? Which way is the rotation?
Same direction. Rotation.
Well, you're looking down on it, and you're looking down on it in the first. Okay. So rotation is that way?
Yeah.
All right, so you're looking at the northern hemisphere, right? And which way
Yes.
will the ball appear? Which way will the ball appear to deflect, Chris?
South.
Due to Coriolis. Which way would the ball deflect? It's always to the. Here's a hint. Spoiler. Always to the right in the northern hemisphere. So
Okay.
to an observer, to an observer, well, you need to, because in the rotating frame of reference, Chris, the ball is going to appear to deflect to the right.
I don't care what direction it deflects. I care about reality. Reality says if you fly due south,
the ball will follow a curved path to the right. If you wanted to now with a free projectile like that, hit Y, you would need to aim to the left, just like that green line you're showing.
So you're saying an airplane is not a projectile?
No, it's not.
So you're saying there's no issue that the plane leaves off at 300 miles per hour speed of tangential speed and it's going towards something that's got 1,000 miles per hour tangential speed. There's no issue there.
Nope.
So where does the extra 700 miles per hour speed come from?
The 700 mile per hour speed is a tangential velocity, Chris. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Coriolis, and it has nothing to do with tangential speed.
Wow.
Nothing to do with tangential
So Coriolis on the ball model doesn't have to do with the different tangential speeds at different latitudes?
The force of the Coriolis effect, Chris, is not dependent on tangential speed. It's dependent on angular speed, sir.
Is the angular speed the same?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let me go to let me pull up a reference real quick. So this link describes basically the same scenario that I have, except they're using trains in a soccer ball. So what they're saying is the blue train is moving at speed of an equator, and the red trains are moving at speeds of whatever these would be, 45 north and south, I guess, something like that. Because the blue train's moving faster than the red trains, if a person were to kick a soccer ball straight, because the ball has the momentum of the blue train that's moving faster, it appears to go to the right of the red train and completely miss the goal. That the example they're setting up is the example that they use on the Earth. If you're at the equator and you kick a ball north, it's going to miss the goal and go to the right of the goal.
That is the Coriolis effect, Chris. That's the Coriolis force acting on the ball.
So you got the question wrong.
No, I did not.
So if you want to make,
no, Chris, you're talking.
If you want to make the goal,
Chris, are you talking about a ball or are you talking about an airplane? Please.
It doesn't matter. The airplane takes on the speed of the ground that it leaves. Correct.
Chris, the airplane is under powered flight and it has control.
Who cares?
Surfaces.
So what? So
That's
when the plane takes off,
Chris, you have to agree.
It's not. When the plane takes off at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, does it have to slow down or do something to get into if it wanted to aim for this goal? Because if it just aims straight, it's going to be going faster than this goal, and it's going to go to the right like the ball.
No, it simply has to bank left about 0.15 degrees. That's all. 0.15 degrees, Chris.
Where are you coming up to? That's just some random figure. So for all of the areas of the Earth, it's 0.15 degrees?
No, wait. Yes. No, that's at 45 degrees latitude, Chris. That's at a latitude of 45
From the
degrees.
Equator?
45 degrees latitude, Chris.
What if you're flying from the equator?
At the equator, the Coriolis force is 0.
At the equator, the second you leave the equator, it's not 0.
As soon as you leave the equator, then the Coriolis force begins to increase, and it increases by the sign of the latitude. You really need to look this up. You really need to pay attention and study it, look it up. Take some numbers, take some actual numbers and put it in one of the Coriolis force calculators. You can find lots of them online. Use the 747-8, for instance. The thing has a maximum takeoff weight of 447 metric tons, more or less. It has a cruising speed of about 914 kilometers per hour, more or less. Put in there 45 degrees latitude and see what you end up with for the Coriolis force, and it's something like 11,000 newtons. Now, work out work out what bank angle would be required to produce a counteracting 11,000 Newton force on the plane, and you will end up with about 0.15 degrees. That's just a good average number, but you can use it. We can do it for any airplane at any latitude you choose.
All right, so I'm gonna have to go. I gotta take my kid shopping for some clothes.
Well, I think Chris bailed out at a good time. I think I had heard about enough of it. So where did Chris go wrong? Well, number one, Chris, airplanes are not projectiles in ballistic flight. Airplanes have engines and they have control surfaces. They fly over a course on the ground, whatever course they desire. They use those control surfaces and engines to do that. This is not like a cannon shooting a projectile 25 miles away. If you're doing that, then you need to account for Coriolis and your azimuth. You don't do that with an airplane. You simply fly your intended course. Secondly, positions on the Earth don't change due to rotation. You're looking at the wrong frame of reference. And this is where you don't understand reference frames. If you were in the inertial reference frame, then certainly everything on Earth is moving in that frame. Your destination would be moving if you saw it from the inertial frame of reference, but you don't. You see it from the non-inertial rotating frame of reference. The position is the position, period. Third, the aircraft's speed in the air over the ground is unaffected by position. It remains constant. You have this idea that the plane has to increase its speed relative to the ground, and it does not. It flies at whatever speed it flies at. If it flies at 500 miles an hour in Anchorage, Alaska, it does 500 miles an hour when it's over San Diego, California. It doesn't change. Again, if you looked at the aircraft from the inertial reference frame, you would see the speed changing. That's not what the airplane experiences, and that is not something the aircraft has to take into account other than addressing the very small Coriolis force. Now, I promised that we'd go through some numbers on that, and let's do it. Let's use that Boeing 747-8 that I talked about when I was speaking with Chris. It's got a maximum takeoff weight of 447.7 metric tons. It has a cruise speed of 914 kilometers per hour. We can easily calculate the Coriolis force, and I won't go through the numbers. Let me just explain a couple of small things. I converted kilometers per hour to meters per hour, and then converted that to meters per second. And I stated the rotation speed of the Earth in radians per second. That's all that was done. And that results in a force, a Coriolis force of 11,690 newtons. Now, at maximum takeoff weight, the lift required by the airplane is 4,391,937 newtons. The bank angle needed to account for an 11,690 Newton Coriolis force is 0.15 degrees. That's equivalent to about a 1.3 knot crosswind. Completely insignificant. So why do pilots ignore Coriolis, Chris? Here's an interesting statistic for you. If that 1.3 knot crosswind were a direct headwind, it would only extend a 10-hour flight by about 15 seconds. That's why we ignore it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And Chris, remember, when I say how stupid can you be, that isn't a challenge, that's a question. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons down there. Click the little bell if you want notifications. Special shout out to the patrons and PayPals, the guys who've been supporting the channel. You are terrific. Thank you so much for everything you do. And I guess we'll catch you guys on the next one. Hey Gladys. We're out of here.